This evening, I ask that you please silence your cell phones and any other electronics and refrain from creating any disruptive sounds. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Tracy Johnson from Emmanuel Baptist Church to come forward and lead us in the invocation. Please all rise. Please turn on the mic.
There we go. Thank you. If you join me in prayer. Father God in heaven, we come before you and we thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your help. And we do pray for our city, San Bernardino. We ask for your help, your healing, and your hope. And we ask you to guide our mayor and council and the staff as they deliberate and as they work on helping our city be a great city and all it can be. So we ask for your grace and blessing upon San Bernardino. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Thank you. Now I invite Sofia Barajas to come forward. She will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. She's a sixth grader at Rio Vista Elementary School.
If you have a hat, please take it off. Thank you. Ready? Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Pastor Johnson. I'd like to ask if there's anything to report from closed session.
There's nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Next matter of business is the appointment this evening. Respectfully request the appointment of Mr. Alfonso Ruiz, Jr. to the Planning Commission. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion by Councilmember Mulvihill, second by Councilmember Charette. That approves unanimously.
Thank you. Invite Mr. Ruiz to come forward and be sworn in.
If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Alfonso Ruiz, Jr.,
I, Alfonso Ruiz, Jr.,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
that I will, go ahead.
support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just take a brief moment and thank Mr. Ruiz for accepting this responsibility and volunteering to serve on the Planning Commission. And I want to once again thank you for making the commitment to be a part of our city. And so submit this commission appointment to you together with this city pin. And would you like to say a few words?
Well, good evening, first of all, Mayor, council members, and staff. This is something I've been wanting to do for some time. I have a background in urban planning and have worked with environmental consulting firm, and so I think my experience can bring value to this position, and thank you to the mayor for this appointment.
Next, we will invite Councilmember Marquez and Councilmember Barrios to the podium, together with the San Bernardino Cardinal Court, Miss Cardinal Court.
It brings me great pleasure in recognizing this year's 2018-2019 Miss Cardinal, because I know she's done a lot of work, and she was up here actually at our last meeting because she does such amazing work academically. But without further ado, the mayor and incoming council want to honor Julin Parafina as Miss Cardinal 2018-2019 for San Bernardino High School.
I'm very thankful for this award. It's an honor to be awarded the certificate of recognition, and I'm just very honored to have this certificate presented to me at the city council meeting. And thank you. I'm very proud of what you guys do for the city, and I hope that I can come here every meeting and be able to see what you guys do every day. Thank you.
Hello guys, good evening. My name is Sarah Garcia. I'm the Miss Cardinal City first runner-up. I would love to thank you, obviously, for my Miss Cardinal for having the award presented to her. She does amazing at the job that she has been granted to her. And I thank you for also recognizing us as a whole. And I'd love to also come back with my Miss Cardinal to see what you guys do to the city to better it, and to also improve it in a way that I would love to improve it one day. So hopefully one day I'll be able to be in one of your seats. Thank you so much.
Well, she kind of beat me to the microphone, and I have a certificate for her. So from the City of San Bernardino Mayor and Common Council, we want to honor Ms. Sarah Garcia as first runner-up for Miss Cardinal San Bernardino High School.
Thank you, Councilmember Barrios. Well, I had the pleasure of being a judge. Thank you, Jamie Rios, for everything that you do for these young men and women of Cardinal City. We have some great people there and great staff. And I was judge number 10. And I must tell you that it was probably one of the most difficult decisions. We had 18 young women compete, and I must say they were all beautiful, brainy, going places. But most importantly, they're from the city of San Bernardino, California, 92405. Yes, and I hope the media is here. Brian, good. You need to report on this. It gives me great pleasure to present a certificate to the ambassador, Rosa Santana. Please come up.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm very thankful for being here and having this opportunity to be the ambassador for San Bernardino High School. Do I go in? Sorry. Okay. So I'm very thankful for what you guys do for this city, and I'm hoping that one day I could do as important things as you guys do to help our community. Once again, I'm very thankful for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also have the pleasure of introducing to you the second runner-up, Miranda Maestas. Please come up. Congratulations.
I just wanted to say thank you. Being Miss Cardinal second runner-up is a big responsibility. Not as big as a responsibility as Miss Cardinal, but representing my school is something that I never thought that I'd see myself doing, but I wouldn't see it any other way. So I want to thank you guys.
Jamie Rios, please come up. Say a few words.
Again, Council, Mayor, I just really, truly appreciate all your support. I mean, it really does take a lot of work. It's not just the beauty, but I try to please Councilwoman Marquez every year. You know, there's nights I go without sleeping because, you know.
Okay, Jamie.
But again, the people that we are bringing to San Bernardino, we had over 50 requests to judge Ms. Cardinal this year. And that just brings me joy because the people that come are very amazed of what's happening in San Bernardino. So I really feel that Mr. and Ms. Cardinal is a jewel to the city because of what it brings to our city, the people that it invites to our city, the program that itself, what it entails. And people leave here so differently about what their thoughts of San Bernardino is. And that's what it needs to really be, is bringing back the beautiful city of San Bernardino. And I know we could do it with the mayor and his leadership. Thank you so much.
Jamie. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I think the only thing better than one certificate is two certificates, right? So I want to also acknowledge each and every one of you. First, Jamie Rios, you're like killing the game with the Mr. Cardinal and Miss Cardinal for this year, but you're just like a pioneer in our community. We can't thank you enough. But for the ambassador, Miss Rosa Santana, come on up. On behalf of the California State, everyone in California is looking at you right now. We also want to acknowledge your accomplishment for being an ambassador for this court. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Let's do it for her. Awesome. She's over there. She got the widescreen. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Thank you. No, you're welcome. All right. Second runner-up, Miss Miranda Maestos. I hope I said that right. I did. There you go. On behalf of California State Assembly, congratulations. Awesome. All right, first runner-up, Miss Sarah Garcia, of course. Come on up. Making San Bernardino proud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You guys have to get used to a lot of smiling. All right, Ms. Cardinal herself. Oh, I need to say it right.
Here's your test.
Let me see.
Take your time.
Miss Parafina. I just went straight to the last name. Come on up. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Junalyn. Oh, that's not that bad. I overthought it. There you go.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, really quick, we're just going to take a group photo all together, and of course the Queen, you're in the center, and we'll be on the sides.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just so the mayor and the city council and our guests know that Ms. Cardinal is the actual mayor of Cardinal City.
Thank you, Councilmember Barrios and Councilmember Marquez. And thank you, Jamie, once again for another successful event and helping our students to be ambassadors for the entire city. Thank you. Next, we'll invite the Chamber of Commerce to come forward for announcements.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Stevens, Director of Sales for the Residence Inn by Marriott here in San Bernardino. I'm also a member of the Executive Board of Directors for San Bernardino Area Chamber of Commerce. And I have today's announcements for the next 2 weeks. Get ready. Saturday, October 6th from 9 to 9 is Cruising Down East Street. Open header contest and neon light parade, fabulous food, other vendors, beer gardens, and over 1,000 fabulous classic cars. Downtown San Bernardino between Arrowhead and East Street, 2nd and 5th, proudly brought to you by the Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the City of San Bernardino. Come on down for a real fun event. Also on October 6th, the Theatrical Arts presents the musical Jekyll and Hyde at the California Theater of Performing Arts, 4th Street, and performances at 2 and 8 p.m. Call 885-5152 for information. At 4 o'clock, the Community Action Partnership will be holding a gala at 1200 Colton Avenue in Redlands. Call 723-1523 for information. While at 3 o'clock on that same day, Mountain View Mortuary and Cemetery at the corner of Highland and Waterman Avenue will be hosting a historical tour. Call 882-2943 for information. On Friday, October 12th, the San Manuel Powwow begins at Cal State University starting at 3 p.m. and continues through the 13th and 14th. Call 425-3450 for information and details. On Saturday, October 13th, the Humane Society of San Bernardino features their doghouse auction and casino night at their building, 374 West Orange Show Road. Call 386-1400 for information. On Monday, October 15th, the local Teamsters 1932 are hosting a golf tournament at the Morongo Golf Club at Tuckwit Canyon. Call 520-6599 for those details. And on October 17th at 4 p.m., Budget Transmission celebrates their 35th anniversary on 1620 East Street. Call 289-9851 for details. And also at 4:30 on the same day, Big Hearts for Little Hearts, Dishes for Wishes. Event takes place at the National Orange Show. Call 709-2061 for details. See you all downtown this coming Saturday when we rendezvous back to Grade 66. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Wendy Williams to come forward from Omnitrans for a brief announcement.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council and members of the audience. I'm here, Wendy Williams with Omnitrans, to tell you about an exciting event we have coming up in October. It's our 3rd annual Sidewalk Chalk Art Contest at the San Bernardino Transit Center, which I hope you know is at Rialto and East Street in downtown San Bernardino. This event will be on the 20th, Saturday the 20th, from 9 till noon, where you will get, I hope you all come down and see sidewalks be transformed into a temporary art gallery. Our art theme this year is a trip around the world. Artists begin their work at 9 o'clock. We have judging from 11 to 11:30. Winners announced at 11:30. Our judges will include a representative from the San Bernardino City Arts Commission, as well as some other organizations. The top prize for chalk artists is $300. So if you are an artist, if you have an artist in your family, if you just want to give it a try, please sign up. It is limited to the first 30 artists. We already have 15 signed up, so still room for more. We also have some kids' activities. We have an area set aside for kids' chalk, freestyle chalk on the sidewalk. And new this year, we're going to have a free children's painting class. Again, the space is limited, so please sign up. We'll also have entertainment. Radio station 103.9 will be there. We'll have refreshments, giveaways, raffle opportunities. All of the details are on our website, omnitrans.org. And I want to put in a little plug for our San Bernardino Transit Center itself. We are very proud of this facility, as I'm sure everyone in the city is. It was completed in 2015 as a multimodal hub in partnership with SBCTA and, of course, the city. It is a LEED Gold facility. It offers connections to Omnitrans bus routes, our SBX rapid transit line, 2 Metrolink lines, and 4 other transit agencies in the region. So it has really become what we envisioned, a multimodal facility. We serve about 6,000 people a day on a typical weekday. And if you haven't been by lately, please take a look. We are in the process of installing new drought-tolerant landscaping on the big open area at Rialto and East. So we're excited to finally get that project finished. It will be completed by the time we have the chalk contest, so that'll be a great time to come out, see wonderful things happening to beautify the city and engage and involve citizens. Again, the details are at omnitrans.org. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking some time and keeping us informed. We will now move to our public comments. Carmel Rowe.
I would have preferred to stay on vacation, but I'm back. Being that I've gone all over California and I come here and it's just so depressing. It's just trash and prostitutes and all kind of various different things, which you guys know if you drive around. I mean, Baseline is an eyesore. But what brought me here today is item 16 about the planning department and the economic department. To me, being that this is election season, this is probably not the right time to make that move. I mean, what we're talking about is we're talking about laying off another department head, which has actually worked 2 of the 3 positions. And the reason I feel that this person would be getting let go is because she's reached out to the community. She's cared about the community. She's been honest with the community. And to me, it just seems like nobody sitting up here wants to be honest with the community. Okay, that we like to hide things. Now, what I would like is I would like somebody to stand up for that person for doing the right thing and not overlooking things because, you know, we got HUD down our backs. And people can say I'm crazy. No, I read. I know. HUD is not happy with what we do and how we spend our money. Okay, and okay, yeah, we got a jacked up planning department. I've been up here preaching this forever and ever and ever and ever. But to just go ahead and just axe, and then who do we get in there? Do we get somebody who doesn't care? Do we get somebody from Orange County? Do we get a consultant? You know, or do we get somebody who maybe lives in Redlands and who joins the women's club and who joins the Rotary Club and who spends money for Saturday meetings out of their own paycheck because they want to embrace the community, which is actually the title of the job. Okay, and then do we have somebody who actually puts out fair bidding so that we can get a Fifth Street development, you know, that would make us all happy to get off the freeway? I mean, get off there. What do we see? You know, and for how long do we see the circus show where the guy and his dog in the Jeep and the alcohol were out there with the flour? You know, I mean, yeah, the gas station is gone. But, you know, we have somebody who's actively doing their job, and how we reward people for doing a proper job in San Bernardino is we give them a promotion and then do away with their job. Like, I find this a real disservice, and I find that's a real injustice. And I feel like, being that we may be changing leadership here, maybe this is not the decision that we should make today. Maybe we should rethink our decision, and we should rethink, hey, if we spend all this money on Fifth Street development and going through the motions, maybe we should let that person do their job. Maybe we should let that person maybe kind of run the planning and run them both and see how that works. And I get it, it might save a little bit of money. But hey, from where I'm standing, we've wasted millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in a very short period of time. So to save $230,000, really, maybe we should rethink this, and maybe that's not really a real savings. Maybe that money that we're saving is actually going to cost us millions and millions from cricket deals and shady politics in the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Porter?
Mayor, council, good people. I wish there was more good people here. I hope you guys know that I live every day of my life trying to please you and to make sure that you're happy with me and the people in San Bernardino are happy with me, and I really do mean that. I try to do things that will lead us in a positive direction. Now, sometimes that takes a little roughing you guys up, and I know that sometimes you don't like that very much. So today I'm going to go on a different route. Today I'd like to mention that maybe we could change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, I remember that it was mentioned last year and nothing else came up about it, but that'd be a good first step for an area that's has a history with genocide in the local indigenous peoples in our area. So it's the least we could do. Another thing I would like is if in the future we could consider using Native American names for some of our streets, or maybe even change some of our local hills to Native American names. Reason being, they all had Native names before they had our new names that we put on them, Waterman, Highland, whatever the name may be. But they all had Native names before that. And they were a trail or a hill or a garden or an area or a village site. But they're valuable names. And some people think they're hard to say. But we just heard the lady from the Chamber of Commerce mention Takut Canyon. Right? So Takut Canyon is Bobcat, right? And we use that name like normal now because they made the change and they used that. And there's probably a lot of bobcats from that canyon, and it was probably the wildcat moiety there too. So there's probably some real historical significance to that. So San Manuel puts out this this cool little coloring book. And it goes through like all the different names, like Hunat for bear, or Wahi for coyote, Takut for bobcat. And they're not that hard to say, and maybe even especially up near the hills where we might have new developments, maybe we could name those streets up there after local native names. And just start the process, because I know we don't have a lot of money to be changing all the street signs. But it still would be a positive direction and really show respect to San Manuel if we were to integrate those native names into San Bernardino's infrastructure. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Claudia Wiggins.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Claudia Wiggins, and I work at 1329 H Street, San Bernardino. And I'm here because I am complaining about all of the transients that we get that loafs on our property. They defecate, urinate, everything on the property. I have called 5 entities of the San Bernardino City. No one has responded. I didn't get a telephone call back or anything. So there's no presence of any authority that runs the streets or anything. Like, I don't see a police car. I don't see anything over there. And the only way that I got to speak to a policeman the other day is because one of the homeless persons there tried to break into one of the patient's cars to take it. And so they came, 2 carloads. They took the person to jail, but I was speaking to the policeman and I said, why? Why? I'm from L.A. I worked at the clinic in Los Angeles, but I was transferred here. Sure, people talk about the boys in blue, that they're rough and tough. But if I had the problems that I have here, they would be there. You know what your policemen's told me here? They're understaffed. They don't have enough policemen to go around. He says, what you need to do is go to the city council, talk to them. He says, remember, the squeaky wheel is the one that gets greased. So I'm letting you know it's terrible over there, but no one does anything. No one. I have called and don't get a call back. In Los Angeles, I knew who my city council member are. I could go there to their office and sit there and come and show them exactly what I needed, how things are running. Here, you don't know anything. All you see is the homeless people running up and down the street, no visible signs of any authority here in San Bernardino. And I'm just asking for some help here in San Bernardino because it is really a nightmare. It was a nice building that I was working at when I first got here in April. Now it's all graffitied. It's just marked up everything. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. And it's heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but it is really sad. And that's my comment.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I address
Yes.
that? What is the address, ma'am? I didn't. 1329. I believe the Quality of Life team is aware of your problem, but I'll maybe have, go ahead.
Actually, I have the police chief who's going to make contact with her now.
Excellent.
I want to get
See, it's your lucky night. You get to talk to the man, the top guy. He's here.
Thank you. Luis Ojeda?
Hello, good evening. My name is Luis Ojeda. I'm the founder of We Are the Change. We've been cleaning San Bernardino one block at a time. And today I want to thank Virginia for coming to help, as well as Mr. Valdivia and Ted Sanchez, Gil Botello. They all show up to our cleanup. We have over 50 volunteers. We expanded our company. We're not only picking up trash now, we're taking care of the graffiti. So I just want to ask the city manager and all the elected officials, until when you guys going to help us? I mean, first it was the excuse that I didn't want to sign the waiver. And I say, yes, I'll sign your waiver. And I say, what's the next project? We'll let you know. I'm still waiting. There's no projects. So, and I've been, the lady right now complained about something that I've been complaining all along. The lack of police, the lack of accountability. And we can have a citizens patrol. I have a lot of people willing to volunteer. I have volunteered myself. I asked the chief a few months ago that I submitted my application over a year ago, and I was willing to pay for my background check out of my pocket, the same way I've been doing it with the cleanups, out of my pocket. And not even me paying for the background check, it was enough for them to take action. And I think the reason is that once they have a bunch of volunteers, they have to put them to work, and somebody has to do the work. And I don't want to speak for other people, but I think that's a problem, that nobody wants to take charge and nobody wants to work. So I think it would be a good idea to not to have cops because they cost money, but there's free laborers, people's willing to do, be it citizen patrol. You know, there's people can go drive around and report crime. Another thing that we're working on it, okay, we're going to start getting surveillance cameras, okay? We're going to get it because apparently nobody's able to do that because it's hard, it's expensive, there's no money. Well, there's a lot of business people and citizens, they're reaching out to me and they say, let's do it. So we're going to start a pilot program in the near future. And we're going to have volunteers looking at the footage and sending to the police department. Hopefully they will be able to do something free of charge, okay? Another thing that I wanted to mention is that everybody talks about the Go app, that we need to make people aware that, you know, Birtec is picking up the trash. Well, I've been asking around and most people's not aware of it. So I think we need to emphasize advertisement on the Go app, and not only that we need to advertise on our free channel about the problem that we have with illegal dumping. Thank you.
Thank you. Spencer Johnson?
Hello, my name is Spencer Johnson. Thank you for letting me come to speak today. Thank you, Mr. Porter, wherever he's at. The reason why I came here today was I'm a 23-year-old male, and on the corner of Date Street and Sterling in San Bernardino, I've been having problems since I moved into a nearby address. Every time I cross that street, either I've had somebody come and been a few feet away from hitting me, either with the cell phone in their hand, they can't see over the steering wheel, or they're intoxicated, or they're just don't know how to drive. So what I'm asking is that, I don't know, this is my best option, is come here to ask to put up a four-way left and right signal in that intersection. I am also mentally ill. I'm diagnosed schizoaffective, so sometimes I understand, but I'm very aware of my surroundings for the most part, so that's why I catch at the last instant. Another thing is too, at that intersection, I see a lot of, let's say, activity, people, not prostitutes. I'm sorry, I get very nervous when I'm speaking in a crowd of people, so forgive me. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today, sir. And thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we are going, remember the council reestablished the Public Safety and Human Relations Commission, and they look at requests for the installation of traffic control devices and things. So Alex or Trish are just going to catch him, get his information, and then we'll present that to the Public Safety Commission with some recommendations about different traffic control devices that we can implement in that area.
Thank you. Lisa Hayes.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the council. Mr. Mayor, my name is Lisa Hayes, and I am a governor-appointed commissioner on the State Independent Living Council. But perhaps even more important, I am the new executive director of Rolling Start. Rolling Start is an independent living center here in San Bernardino, whose mission is to empower people with disabilities to live their best life as they choose. We are a cross-disability organization, and we serve inclusive of veterans, older adults, and youth with disabilities. I'm here tonight with our systems change advocate, Pilar Cole. We would be honored to help or support the council on disability issues. We are in need of board members, so if you or you know of anyone that would be interested in serving on a board, we are looking for people interested in human resources or experience with human resources, legal, and fundraising, of course. We do meet on the fourth Wednesdays of each month from 5 to 7 at 1955 Hunts Lane in San Bernardino. And while I can't offer a stipend, we do feed you dinner, and I would be extremely grateful for your service. I just wanted to thank you for just a few moments of your time, and I look forward to working with you and in service of our community of people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this provides a terrific opportunity, and Trish will reach out to her because we are looking at all of our ADA accessibility plans. I'm trying to develop some strategies. Given the fact that we do have limitations on resources, but we do want to make all of our facilities more accessible. That includes not just buildings, but also our streets and sidewalks. So we're going through that process now, and so she may be of great assistance to us as we try to plan for what those improvements look like in the future. So again, we'll reach out to her and thank her for coming tonight. It's kind of fortuitous that she came tonight. That's terrific.
Thank you for that input. Jim Smith?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council people and residents of San Bernardino, also the staff. I'm really encouraged with what is happening in the city of San Bernardino. We are turning a corner getting out of bankruptcy. We were in bankruptcy for too long time, and we don't get out of bankruptcy overnight. But the leadership of this city, with the city manager, the new form of government, is putting everything in place to where we can have an excellent plan to move our city positively into the future. I've heard some negative things tonight, and I understand that we have struggles in San Bernardino, but we are moving in the right direction. Suffice to say, we don't need a change of course right now. We need to stay the course to make sure that eventually, with these young ladies that were here tonight, the Miss San Bernardino, that's our future. And it's always my goal, eventually, that we will again become an all-America city. Everything is in place right now with Burtec, with the county fire. We're out of bankruptcy. Now we have a professional, all due respect to the city attorney, tremendous amount of respect for him, but now we have a professional law firm that takes care of our legal questions. And suffice to say, if you lived in this area, which I have for over 70 years, the other cities around operate that way. Best and Krieger is the best corporation we could have to handle our legal affairs here in San Bernardino. So the point I'm making is that we're putting everything in place. We have the legal firm, we have Burtec, we also have a tremendous county fire who's cut down the response time tremendously. So let's look at the future of San Bernardino. Let's move toward that all-America city again that we can do. And I think right now we have a wonderful city council. Suffice to say, if you look back 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of bickering. But now we're working primarily as a team. And let's stay the course. Let's not change the course. Let's move forward to create a great city, a professional city here in California, in the city of San Bernardino. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Babcock?
Barbara Babcock. I grabbed Wendy Williams on the way out and I said, hey, Gil and I are happy to be judges again, but we're not with the Fine Arts Commission. We're with the former Fine Arts Commission, but we are still really excited about making differences in this city. So anyway, Gil, we invite everybody to come down. It's a great time, and everybody gets free stuff, and the kids love it. It's just amazing. I want to talk about something good. My street is being worked on the corner of Golden and 26th. And is Trish around? Thank you. They've tried to do it several times before, and somebody told me, kind of snide the other day, well, of course you're getting it done because you've got a big mouth. I go, I didn't put in the request. I had one of my neighbors do it. So thank you very much for following the reasons for the reasons. I was tempted to, but I kept letting her do it. Tomorrow afternoon is a mayoral debate. Mayor Kerry Davis and John Valdivia will be speaking at Ecclesia Church at 6 o'clock, and they're not getting the questions in advance, which I love, because anybody can have good answers if you have the questions in advance. So we are making progress in this city. And I've always told Andrea, I knew her quite well the first time around. And when I don't get to see her as much anymore. But that's probably a good thing, because you're doing what needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No further public comments at this time. We'll entertain a motion to, did any items to be pulled by the council?
None, Your Honor.
All right. Councilmember Richard? No. Councilmember Nickel?
Just a question on 7. Don't need to pull.
All right.
No, sir.
Councilmember Valdivia?
Item number 7.
Councilmember Barrios?
Item number 16.
Councilmember Marquez?
None, Your Honor.
Move the balance. Second.
Thank you. Call for a vote.
Can you repeat the second, please? I didn't catch the second. No. Motion by Councilmember Charette, second by Councilmember Mulvihill, and that passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 7 is to adopt Resolution 2018272 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, authorizing the city manager to execute, accept, and administer the fiscal year 2018-19 State of California Office of Traffic Safety grant number PT 19106 in the amount of $458,000. Councilmember Nichol.
Yeah, just a comment from some constituents. I know we've had some issues with street racing on Kendall. We had a fatality there at some point. I'm not sure if we learned what the exact circumstances were. I think there was some alcohol or other contributing circumstances, but I have received numerous complaints from individuals that live along Kendall of street racing at late hours of the night, early hours of the morning, and there was a specific request that perhaps we can use some of this funding perhaps to set up some kind of a program to deter that kind of behavior. So that was the only question I had. Also noise abatement. I think there's what I've heard from most of the constituents up there, that these vehicles tend to be very loud, that they have modifications to their emissions systems, and it makes for a real nuisance for the people that live in that area. So that was all, more just a comment, just to make you aware. Thank you.
Councilman Valdivia.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. City Manager, it's been brought to my attention from some of my residents, 3 things. The speed limit signage, can we somehow replace, I think we have inoperable speed limit signage, the ones that are radar sensitive and somehow have type of a warning for residents, especially specifically in the school zones. Very important that we monitor and somehow use those. They're a mobile type of speed enforcement.
Right.
And so they're on trailers, and so they set them out early morning, but I don't know if we have any more. I saw one the other day, believe it or not, maybe it wasn't ours, but I saw one on Highland Avenue at Scotty, or some muffler shop, and I'm like, that kind of looks like ours. But I don't know if we do have them. Can we employ those, or can we purchase or somehow improve the service to residents?
Well, there's a couple questions there. If there are, and I will ask the chief just to go back and check the equipment, because if we have some that are not working, we need to get them restored to working order or rotated out of the fleet and replaced so that we have a sufficient number of them to be able to deploy, because it is critical around schools. And there are times where we really want to help remind people about the traffic. So we'll check into that. With respect to this grant, I think in the past we've used it to buy some speed trailers. And so maybe your plan is to buy some additional equipment?
Yeah, we do. So quite often they have to put in for the equipment on the grant when we apply for it. And in this particular case, they haven't asked for a speed trailer. We have purchased speed trailers with this type of grant money before. We have a couple of the trailers in our inventory. If you saw it out there and it wasn't working, it may have just been because it had been running for a couple of days and the battery died or something.
Okay.
And then typically we deploy those in 2 different ways. One is staff will determine problematic type of locations and put them out there to collect data. The other way is if there's a specific complaint. So if you've got a specific location you'd like us to put it out and you get that to us, we'll make sure the trailer gets out there.
Very good. I appreciate that. Regarding the traffic enforcement, what is the intention of this grant money? Is it for overtime? Is it for DUIs? Explain the grant for us.
Yeah, so this is an annual grant that we get. This is federal money that comes and funnels through the state Office of Traffic Safety. The department's been the recipient of these traffic safety grants for the better part of about 20 years, 18 to 20 years now. We've consistently gotten them, and we consistently get them based upon good performance and things such as that with the money that we have received. This particular one is $458,000, 1-year grant, so it'll be through the fiscal year that started October 1st, a couple days ago, through September 30th. The specific things that they will do with overtime are DUI programs, checkpoints, as well as saturation patrols. They will a hot sheet type program that deals with chronic DUI offenders. They will also deal with a hot sheet type program that deals with suspended and revoked licenses as a result of DUI. Mostly DUI. They will also do some seatbelt enforcement and some speed enforcement type programs, specifically with the overtime. And then there's some equipment money in there for them to buy some additional electronic ticket writers and things like that for efficiency.
Is there any monies program for big rig vehicle enforcement, and how can we improve the safety of our streets through these funds for big rig and big vehicles coming out of Amazon, coming out of some of the big warehouses?
Sure. So this particular program does not have anything specifically related to commercial enforcement. In our particular city, when we have commercial complaints and those types of things, because there's a specialty associated with the equipment type issues and stuff that you'll see with big rigs, we quite often will refer that to the CHP and to their commercial enforcement unit, simply because we just don't have the resources contained within traffic to have those particular specialties and drive around with the equipment that they use. But if there's something specific out of moving violations, we take care of that with regular motor officers and things such as that. But the inspection component that goes with commercial vehicles, that's the specialty that we'll typically refer to the CHP.
And through, we are making significant changes to our whole our traffic analysis program. We do have a licensed traffic engineer on staff, Mahmood. We want to formalize that process. So we heard the gentleman that expressed concerns with one of the intersections and suggested some devices, traffic control measures that could assist in alleviating that. We now have this Citizens Commission that's reviewing Mahmood's analysis. He's using supplemental traffic engineers as necessary. But I think longer term, we are beginning, much as we've talked about being more strategic in all of our actions, whether it's general plan amendments and zoning code updates and things of that nature. We're also trying to be more strategic in how we deal. Right now, we don't have a lot of provisions that relate to truck routes and things, so we are looking at the community because there are some areas that we really want to probably limit truck traffic because of the visibility, high pedestrian populations. And so again, as we look at our annual programs to address speed limits and things, we are going to be making some recommendations to you in the near future about truck routes and where they legitimately should be and what are areas that are less conducive for that.
Final comment regarding the tragedy at Pacific High School. My concerns, this item certainly brings to my attention the need for us to really get out there, our motor cops, and making sure that our school zones are patrolled. It's an unfortunate event, and I'll leave it there, but I'm looking forward to justice prevailing to the person who injured that and ultimately killed that high schooler. So I just want to encourage our city management team to really look at our school zones. It's important. We got to patrol those areas. Thank you. Move for approval on it.
And just because that is really, really critical, we, as the council's aware, we did get some additional grant funding for Safe Route to School development, and so we're working with the school district on that. And then we are meeting with the superintendent and various staff members to look at ways we can even further enhance the areas around our schools. So we agree with you.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call for the vote.
Motion by Councilmember Valdivia, second by Councilmember Mulvihill, and that passes unanimously.
Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Schritt.
Thank you. I need to point out, I approved the balance of the consent and failed to pull, just for the purpose of voting no on item 12. That was regarding the compensation and benefits of elected officials. I did not support this at the last meeting, and just in the interest of remaining consistent, I'd like my vote to be recorded as a no on item 12 on the consent calendar.
So noted.
Thank you. Next is item number 16. This is to adopt a resolution 2018-280 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, deleting existing classifications of Director of Community Development and Director of Economic and Housing Development, and approving the classification job description for the Director of Community and Economic Development. Councilmember Barrios?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to question as far why we're getting rid of the housing component, because I know it was just a short time ago that we were very happy to bring someone on to handle that piece. And I just don't understand, looking at the backup, why I see that there's a savings, and is that the only thing that we're looking at, is to save money, and, or what is the real reason why we're doing away with that position?
Remember, throughout the organization, one of the challenges that we've had is really addressing issues from a very holistic perspective. And sadly, because of this structure, we've had a whole series of silos operating with little communication amongst one another. A council member, Valdivia, just raised a question about school safety around, school zones, and there's a great example where we have traditionally relegated that to one particular department, but really, if we're going to effectively address the situation, it requires cooperation of multiple city departments. In that case, to really affect safety around our school zones, you need to have the traffic enforcement component, you need to have the traffic engineers looking at safety improvements, whether we should have stop signs there, four-way stop signs, whether the speed limits are set accurately, whether or not there are other pavement type markings that we can use to improve visibility. So this is an example of that where, because we've operated in silos, we find that it's much more effective if our economic development team and housing staff are tied in with our planning departments so that we are looking at everything from the impact on the city's general plan and ultimately making sure that all economic development and housing activities really relate to the vision that you have for the future of your city. Because of the duplication, we're finding that we're not being as effective as we otherwise could be. I really don't look at this as an opportunity to save money. I think ultimately what it's going to allow us to do is to make sure that we aren't operating in silos, that we're using all those tools that we have available to us, because really with the loss of redevelopment, we find that the most significant tool that we have to attract businesses is our assurances that we're going to be able to make sure that the projects that they're proposing to us can go quickly through the development process, and that's really the most effective and the easiest tool that we have available to attract new development to our community. So we see that eliminating that allows us to move more quickly through the process and then devote the resources, because I don't see this being a significant savings. I really see this allowing us to then invest our resources in additional tools to help attract economic development and to make sure that we're using properties to, again, the council's best vision, and making sure that our housing efforts really are reflective of what our ultimate planning is for the community. So again, we're not doing this as a salary savings. We just want to make sure we're being as effective as we possibly can. This doesn't mean I've had great conversations with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. They're aware of the changes. And in fact, in talking to several officials at HUD, they said, really, you're catching up to where most cities are, because as cities lost redevelopment, they had originally, because of the redevelopment programs that were available to cities, we had robust economic development departments that operated kind of in an ancillary fashion to the city's overall planning function. But with the loss of redevelopment, more cities actually combined those functions. Really, we're now doing what other cities did in about 2011 when redevelopment went away.
Well, as far as the silos piece, I think that's a leadership thing that we need to make sure that people communicate, and that can easily be done by telling departments, hey, you need to communicate, not work in silos. Easy as that. As far as the HUD projects that are existing, that are in motion, in the meantime, as far as if we do away with that position, what's going to happen with those projects?
Well, remember, in addition to that director position, we have very effective housing staff that are there, including a housing manager. So again, really what we're looking at, it's not a communication issue. It's really a matter of understanding how those things work together for the best result for the city.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Charette.
Thank you. This item, I did have a conversation with the city manager today about it. I had some concerns. I did a little research on my own, and indeed, what we're doing is best practices for moving forward, particularly with the end of economic development. And my concern, of course, is that there is going to be some savings, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we'll be able to maybe utilize that more effectively. I know we're not doing this for salary savings. I get it. It's best practices, and I'm supporting the item for that purpose. My concern and any concerns, it wasn't really a concern, it's just a question of how we go about filling that position, because it's going to be a big position and very, very critical to going forward in this community. And I was pleased to hear that there is a plan in place, or will be a plan in place, to do a thorough recruitment of whoever ends up here. It's critical that we employ the highest quality people in these positions as we move toward that world-class city that we're talking about. So, again, anybody that currently thinks that they're qualified for the position would certainly be available or allowed to apply. And that could be internally or in Colton or Redlands or anybody else that wants to come over here and join this world-class city and join us as we move in that direction. So I will be supporting this item, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Nickel?
Yeah, no, I was just going to echo, I know a number of years ago, the city of Redlands went through a major restructuring, and they actually have a department of just development services. That's all it is, not economic, community, it's just development services. And I think they've had quite a bit of success with that structure. And so I fully support this, and I mean, I would even be willing to accept a simplified definition so people understand that this is about development, economic development, community development, because you can't, you have to have a one-stop shop. You have to have at least one director that is overseeing all of this holistically. So I support it. I think it's long overdue, and thanks for getting this done.
Councilmember Marquez?
Thank you. I too support this. I understand. I get it. We're kind of behind, but we're moving forward, and I think this is one of the first steps. I do have a real quick question regarding the minimum qualifications, because I want you to recruit and vet the best for our city. I know it's a four-year degree.
Four-year degree. Although with all of our management level positions, four-year degree is required, although master's degree is desirable. And really anymore, unless you have a master's degree,
Right.
you're not competitive. So I really anticipate that we will have people that have graduate level degrees in coursework related to economic development, housing development, planning.
Plus the experience.
Plus experience.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Schritt?
Yeah, I'm sorry, just one more comment, and along those lines, maybe two more comments, because to springboard off of that, I know so many times we're up here and we look to the outside of the city of San Bernardino, outside of the county, outside of the state. Unfortunately, we have to go where the best candidates are, and I'm assuming that we will reach far and wide for the absolute best to fill this position, because again, I think it's probably one of the most critical positions in this community as we rebuild our community. So with that, I feel confident that you will take that to heart and do that.
Mr. Mayor, if I may respond to that, because a lot of the questions have related to qualified candidates, and going to Mayor Pro Tem's comment, we also looked at the salary levels, and I'm hoping that we can attract, and so maybe people are actually watching television right now, I'm hoping we can attract the economic development director or the development services director out of Redlands that's been successful, and so we're hoping that this is a competitive salary, and by consolidating those functions, I think one of the challenges that we have had is where we are trying to compete for positions where an individual, and I would use myself as I think I would do this, as I was considering my next career opportunity, I was looking for opportunities to expand my scope of responsibility, not contract it. And when you separate those functions, there were an awful lot of people who are probably really very qualified that said, but I have more responsibility, I have more ability to affect change in my current organization. So even though San Bernardino is larger, gosh, I don't want to take that on because I have a broader scope of responsibility in my current city. I think we're going to find that we're much more competitive by giving all of those functions, and if the council wants to change the name, we were just trying to be pretty close to what we've, similar to what we've done in the past, but if you want to change it to Development Services Director, we're fine with that too. Again, we were trying to keep some level of consistency, but it really is giving someone the breadth of experience. And the other plug I will make for this community, we have such tremendous opportunity here that I think we're going to find that there are people, because it has a broad scope of responsibility, and there's so much opportunity here with development and housing programs, that I think we will be able to attract a very good candidate.
And I'm sorry, excuse me, just my last comment. I said one, but then I said two, and now here's my second one. So there won't be any
Your
more.
third?
There won't be any more. And I want to touch on this very carefully because I don't want to disparage anybody in the organization at this point in time.
No.
But I've heard so many times that we really sometimes aren't the staff or the city of how can we get it done?
Right.
And that's what I want to see more than anything is when someone, a developer or somebody comes to our counter that wants something done, it's not, well, it's not in the development code, we just can't do that, we can't do that, but to figure out a way to do it. They are our customers and we want them here, and it's easy to say, well, we just don't do that, and so they'll go somewhere where they do it. So I just want to be sure that we're really a staff of, yes, we can, and here's how we'll do it, and we'll get around that issue one way or the other. I'm not talking about breaking the law or doing anything wrong, but just figure out a way and think out of the box. And so that's been a big concern of mine, and I just want to make sure that that's part of the qualifications of this person coming on, whoever it might be.
Councilman Valdivia.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. City Manager, I appreciate the conversation you have regarding this position. What is the anticipated timeline? Walk us through what's the projected timeline of you, walk us through the steps, and then what's your ultimate goal here?
So we would, if the council approves this this evening, I'd like to engage a recruitment firm that is used to recruiting for these kinds of high executive level positions. We have quotes from a couple of firms, and I would want to engage them as quickly as possible. They would develop a recruitment brochure based on the job description that you've approved this evening. We would want to get it in as many trade publications as possible. There are some that individuals, not just your typical Western City magazine, but we really want to target it to people that are reading the kinds of magazines that we want them to be familiar with and current publications. So I would give the open period a good 6 weeks or so. I will need to modify that slightly as we look at when those different opportunities print, because we would want to get that in people's hands so the broadest number of people see it. So I would think like 6 to 8 weeks that the position's open, and then we'll spend a few weeks just going through the applications, having the consultant do that and select the best for us. Although I always want to know exactly who applied, because we want to reserve the ability to add some additional ones back to the pool, and then try to get the interview process done as quickly as possible with an appointment. So I would think first of next year we'd be close to at least vetting candidates and hopefully making an appointment.
The other question that comment is I'd like to see more of the private sector tapped, because I think the private sector certainly provides a lot of new fluid thought, creative thought, and God bless kind of our, traditional applicant here, but I'm looking for somebody a little bit more on the cutting edge to get stuff done and get new development here. So
one of the great opportunities that we have, I think, at this pay rate and with this breadth of responsibility, you have people now that, because of the loss of redevelopment, so maybe this is a good thing that we're a little behind the times. With the loss of redevelopment in about 2011, there were an awful lot of people that have government experience but went into the private sector. And now they may be interested in coming back or vice versa. So I agree. I think we have an opportunity to get someone that has both some sensitivity to the public sector needs, but does have that private sector mentality about getting the job done. Someone that knows how to close the deal, that's a problem.
That's huge.
Huge.
That's
because it's easy to talk about it, but it's hard to close the deal, and we need people who know how to close the deal. And frankly,
and results oriented. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm looking for is fast action, results, no excuses. Let's get this ball moving here.
And on another positive note, I think we're poised to do this now, where we may not have been poised to do it before, because now we're getting enough other seasoned professionals in the other key departments. Our Public Works Department, Trish is doing a remarkable job of making sure that we're fixing roadways and getting systems back in order. So now we have the luxury to have someone that has maybe more private sector experience join a team of people and be able to deal with people who have a strong public sector background.
So what does this say to our investment community? Because I'm getting some phone calls from home builders, developers. what should the average builder in our community, as he or she reflects investment opportunities, how does this convey certainty? And how can we reassure the investment community that for the next 90 days, your project's not going to be lost, your file won't be kind of canceled? The urgency is still to complete these projects and get churn out product.
We are fortunate that we have Jeff Bloom engaged in an interim basis. Jeff was the deputy director in Rancho Cucamonga, and actually in that capacity, he had responsibility for all these areas. And that's part of the reason why I want to move this so quickly, because Jeff is here on an interim basis, but he's putting together a team of people that know how to process these projects in a much more timely manner. So again, we're assessing our planning function. That's a great tool for us, and Jeff will continue in that capacity through this appointment and even potentially beyond that. The other thing that I think that we have done is, we have a lot of development interest in the city. We have engaged a consultant, Elisa Stipovich, who, it's close. I'm sorry, Lisa, if you're watching right now and you're mad because I just slaughtered your name. But Lisa was the Economic Development Director for the City of Anaheim and responsible for all the downtown Disney activities and their downtown Anaheim projects. So again, we're bringing people to the team now that have that. Again, it goes back to the idea, we need closers, people who know how to close these development deals.
Is Lisa with a consulting firm, or is she
really on her own? She retired about a year ago.
Okay.
Oh, 6 years ago. Wow. Retired 6 years ago. I didn't realize she doesn't seem that old, but retired 6 years ago. But again, she's got great experience and she knows the development community, but we're trying to bring those people that actually know how to do deals and do transactional work, because that is a challenge. With the changes, we don't have a lot of people that have done transactional work.
And regarding CDBG, we still have a staff in place to monitor the projects, because that's my concern, is that the CAFR reports from past years have not given too much glowing, but we're on the mend. And so can you reassure me that somehow the CDBG projects, especially the public works aspects and components of the CDBG projects, will not be compromised, that we're still steadfast in commitment to deliver the product?
We're still going to deliver the product. We've changed slightly, so I think this adds more assurance that things will get done. In the past, the CDBG staff has been the ones also driving the project development and construction. Now that's not the case. Trish and her staff, Alex, are now responsible for the project delivery. Certainly it's funded by CDBG, and we have our housing and CDBG HUD staff that are dealing with the financial reporting under the direction of Brent, our finance director. But really the project delivery, which was the problem for us in the past, has now been shifted to our Public Works Department, so it's being handled like any other capital project that you would approve, and is approved as part of that budget.
So with the combined effort here and focus, do you anticipate having a segmented CDBG director, or will this will encompass everything?
Yep.
Okay,
and
very good.
And the other thing, in the end, I think we will be able to get more things done for the city council, because we're not tied to those funding sources. We're going to use the best funding source that accomplishes your vision.
Move for approval. Yes, second.
Councilman Mulvihill.
No, I was just moving to adopt the resolution.
Mayor, I have one more question, Mayor.
Looks like Benita's got a question.
Councilman Barrios.
Just so I have clarity as far as the hierarchy and how it's going to work, because we're consolidating 3 directors into one person, correct?
No, two directors into one director position.
Got it.
Not 3.
And so our staff is going to remain in place, and so
As
but
long
this
as-
person is just not overwhelmed with work, because we're just taking on 2 positions. And that's kind of a concern I was looking at as far as, okay, is it too much of a workload?
It's not too much of a workload, and again, we'll work through. We have great managers in several areas. Once this individual's on board, I think there are some things, as I talked to Jeff Bloom, and I appreciate Councilmember Mulvihill, who's sensitive to the planning side of it because of his background. I think longer term, to make sure we're able to deliver projects, we may come back to you at some point and look at restructuring the planning staff to provide more support to planning, because we're finding that has been a backlog. But as of today, I don't see this being too much responsibility for this position. I think it's commensurate with other cities and the way it's structured. And then we will look at augmenting, once we have that person on place, some of the other
I just don't want to hear in the future, like, oh, we don't have enough people here, it's only me.
Right.
That's what I was looking at.
You will not hear that from a director.
Got it.
And you'll hear it once.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call for the vote.
I'm just missing Councilmember Barrios. Okay, motion by Councilmember Valdivia, second by Councilmember Marquez. That passes 6-1 with Barrios in the nay position.
Thank you. Next is item number 17. This is to provide an oral report related to the League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo held September 12th through September 14th. I'll begin my report. I had an opportunity to attend on Thursday and paid for the one-day fee of $300. The first meeting that I attended was the newly proposed CEQA guidelines. The Governor's Office of Planning and Research has been reviewing the issue related to transportation impacts, and in the past they've used a LOS, level of service measuring guide, and they're considering changing that to a VMT, which is a vehicle miles traveled, as the most appropriate measure. Next, I attended the meeting at approximately 10 p.m., which was related to the general election for 2018, and there were a number of political viewpoints that were put forward about the historical primary and general election trends. Next, I attended the meeting related to cannabis legalization in California. It was reported that state tax collections are lower than anticipated, and that product testing has been resulting in some significant failures, and the state has limited resources in which to monitor the system. At 2 o'clock, I attended the bargaining between union and management, the perspectives that were brought forward. They indicated some of the successful negotiating strategies that are being provided on both parts, both union and management. Then the last event that I attended was at 4 o'clock. It was entitled Getting More from City Services. The speaker here was Assistant City Manager for the City of Chico, which was also on the verge of bankruptcy. They explained how they gained some efficiencies through their system changes designed to enhance output as opposed to just looking at inputs. So that concludes my report. We'll now invite the Councilmember Barrios to give his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Biggest thing that what I like about this conference is the expo. The expo, you have probably over several hundred, I guess, vendors that bring their services of what they can do for the cities. And one thing I just want to tell Luis, there is cameras that communities are purchasing, and I have that information and it's not that expensive, that I want to share with you, after the meeting, or I'll get in touch with you soon. And other things as far as locking trash cans so that people aren't going through our trash. There's opportunities out there to purchase those types where there's areas that's a problem. And so that's the biggest part. And the networking with other council members throughout our state is another thing I love, because you learn more about what's going on in their community, how they're handling the marijuana issue, what's going on with the politics there. And so all in all, it's a great event for any elected official in a city to go and experience, to gain more knowledge and collaborate with other people. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Valdivia?
Thank you, Mayor. I too attended the meeting, and it was great delight to hear legislative updates regarding the upcoming ballot initiatives throughout the state. I also sat on a policy committee, and so I was there Wednesday morning receiving a policy update on my housing and policy meeting that I attended. So I enjoyed it. It was great. Enjoyed the camaraderie with other elected officials. Certainly, I saw Mr. Davis and Mr. Charette and others. So it was good seeing you guys there. Thank you.
Councilman Charette.
It's always nice to see all of you there.
Yeah. In attendance, taking notes.
And taking notes. And as the voting member was down there, I attended many of the same breakout sessions that have been mentioned here. I agree with Mr. Barrios that it is meeting with these vendors, and they do have quite an expo there where we can go in and talk to vendors and get ideas on what's available and best practices and what have you. As well as what I get most out of it is really the networking with other officials in the state. Was able to run into some former colleagues of ours, Mark Scott, as well as, and I'm going to have that senior moment where I can't remember the ones that I'm talking about, but a lot of them, and it's good to, I didn't see Alan. I missed Alan Parker. There was somebody I did want to see. He was there, I understand, yeah. Ran into your former chief of staff and chatted with him for a few minutes. And A.J. Wilson, that's who I was thinking about, the executive director at the airport. Had a very good conversation with him. But I think the networking is really important. These sessions that we attend are extremely informative and help a great deal, but there's so much to take. We do take notes and we do get information and we bring it back. But as voting member, on the last day, which I guess was Friday morning, we voted, and I cast an affirmative vote for 2 resolutions. I'll just read them very quickly. There's only, 5-6 pages here to read. No, the resolution number 1 is, the mayor's going to gavel me down. Resolution of the League of California Cities calling upon the League to respond to the increasing vulnerabilities to local municipal authority control and revenue and explore the preparation of a ballot measure and or constitutional amendment that would further strengthen local democracy and authority. That was resolution 1 that passed. The second resolution was a resolution of the League of California Cities declaring its commitment to support the repeal of preemption in California Food and Agriculture Code 11501.1 that prevents local governments from regulating pesticides. So those are the 2 measures that were voted at the meeting, the general meeting annual conference resolutions that were held on the 14th, and I attended that and cast a positive or a affirmative vote on those. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Richard.
Thank you, Mayor.
Does anyone disagree with my affirmative vote? It's too late.
Oh, goodness. Well, you know, I too attended the conference, and I attended the conference all 3 days. But I think one of the most enjoyable, well, I won't say enjoyable, but informative moments, I attended the workshops regarding dealing with homelessness. And I think that that's something that we really need to work on in our city. You know, in Long Beach, they have homeless. They have their own share of problems. So, you know, after hours, I went out and I walked around, and I ended up sitting up at the bus stop bench. And I wasn't really paying attention. I was on the phone. So I was on the phone, and I saw this person walk up to the trash can, but I thought it was the people coming to empty the trash can. Well, come to find out, it was a homeless guy, and he pulled all this stuff out, and he came and sat next to me. And he pulled all this stuff out, and he's trying to show me, but I'm on the phone. And so finally I think he thought I was supposed to be afraid, and I was just like, okay. And then he finally got up and got mad because I didn't pay him any attention. He just slammed his head on the ground and got up and said, never mind. And I wanted to tell him, I'm from San Bernardino, man. I'm not afraid of this. But, you know, one of the things is that I sat through a lot of the workshops dealing with the homeless problems or homeless issues in California. And I believe that the city of San Bernardino, I think that we need to look a little bit closer into that, because that's one thing that we need to start working on, and we need to try to deal. There's taxpayers here that talk about it all the time at the mic, and we need to do more about it. We need to do more about it. We need to not just protect the homeless population, but we need to work and protect those taxpayers that are talking about it, those business owners. we need to work on it. You know, a lot of this illegal dumping, you know, a lot of that comes from them dumping things that they brought with them when they got here. So I believe that, you know, we really need to address that. So, and I enjoyed seeing all of you guys. I saw everybody, all of you guys in passing. I saw the mayor walking by with his suitcase. You know, he's always got a suitcase with him, which is a good thing, I think. But it was good seeing all of you guys, and we need to do that more often. We need to get out there and find out what other communities are doing and what other communities are talking about so that we can become that world-class city again and look at some of their best practices. Thank you.
Councilman Overhill?
No, and
you wanna
kind
say
of, I didn't attend the meetings. I've got more meetings coming up. But often I don't see staff at professional meetings. Well, okay, that's good, but
I
in
should have
times
mentioned
past.
that, Jim. Good point.
I know we've commented on
Yeah, sorry, but
Yeah.
I sat next
It's
to
been
her.
I think,
Terry, thank you for being here.
I think the reason
Pardon me.
you didn't see staff there is because you weren't there.
Well, I have to say that in many events, I see no San Bernardino staff there.
That's a good point, Jim.
Yeah, and I hope that in the future that staff do participate in these professional meetings. I've been to planning, APA planning conventions and to the UCLA January update, and I don't think I've ever seen a San Bernardino staff member at any of these meetings. Thank you.
Good point.
Thank you. Councilmember Marquez?
Well, I did not attend. I chose to stay here and man the control center. But I've been to them in the past, and I must say they are very informative, but I didn't go. I just want to quickly go back to the homeless, because I love dealing with that issue. I believe that the city of San Bernardino and the cities of Ontario and Victorville all three of us are taking the lead on the homeless in this county. We have Step Up on 2nd Street, who serve as the homeless coordinator. They have housed 8 people already, and I believe that they're going to surpass the expectation. It's a complicated issue, as our city manager knows, because a lot of them don't want the services. Then you factor in the psych issues and the substance abuse issues, and then if they have a dog, I mean, it's complicated. But we are addressing it. We're doing something about it. We're not ignoring it, but we have a long way to go. That's my comment.
Thank you. Next is item number 18. We have one speaker. This is a continuation of the hearing that we opened up last week. Carmel Rowe, if you would come forward and be sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth for the development permit item?
I do.
Thank you.
So when I saw this on the agenda, I said, really? And I started to think, is this a good idea or is this a bad idea? Because I used to want to buy this building for many years, and my dad, he says, oh, Carmel, that's just such a dump. You don't want that. It's never been anything. It's never going to be anything. You know, and this is like always one of my favorite buildings in the city. But the surrounding neighborhood is horrible. And the last time I was up here and we had this conversation about the apartment complex on the other side of the blue apartment complex, that you guys were going to do this, and you guys were going to make this into these apartments. And these are low-income apartments. And exactly what I told you guys you were going to do, now you're going to put another one. Now, we are creating apartments and apartments and apartments. Now, I've stood up here a million times and said, if we want to build apartments, build them for the average income person, like Rancho Cucamonga, where there's a pool and a clubhouse. Okay, more low income, low income, low income. I mean, those blue apartments are horrible over there. Okay, Arrowhead, the reason that this other place is not what it is because of this over here. You guys are going to devastate a neighborhood. You guys are going to you guys are going to have more police calls than you already have. And yeah, you might say, oh, we're getting something nice and beautiful, but for how long? You're putting the projects and the projects and the projects around homes and homeowners. I mean, what's wrong with converting it into 6 homes? Okay? What's wrong with bulldozing it and converting it to homes? But apartments? Really? Honestly? We, the people, cannot take that much. Sandra Ibarra, her neighborhood is filled with apartments. They got problem after problem after problem in low-income apartments. I've been a landlord for 23 years in this city. And what you guys are doing right there, you guys are killing the city. You guys are killing, that's like the middle, the corridor. That right there could be home ownership. That right there could create the walking traffic to downtown. But instead, you're going to put low income and low income and low income. And with low income, what happens? 8 people are shot at over a dice game? Murders? Really? These low income? They're the ones who make the police not be able to respond to those of us who run businesses. Because you guys are too busy chasing after them or not chasing after them. And now you're going to create more. Really? Let's think about the taxpayers. I know we're not going to get any money because we gave away our property taxes if we create home ownership. But you know what? We would have people more willing to spend their money. We would have people that can afford to spend their money. Okay, when you go to another city, man, the same taco I would have to sell for 75 cents here, I could sell for $3 there. This city, by low income and low income and low income to death, we're never going to get anywhere. I suggest everybody sell everything they own and freaking run for the hills. And I beg everybody, kick Fred Charette out of his seat. Alex Beltran is the way to go. Okay, break up this little monopoly, this little good old boy club over here, and shake this city up. Because if not, run. They don't care about your property taxes because they don't get them. They don't care about the value of your home. They're purposely destroying this city. No more low income. Thank you.
Thank you. Recommendation is to continue for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, we do recommend that you consider continuing this item. If you would like Jeff to walk through the project at all, certainly we can answer any questions that the council may have, but we are recommending that this be continued so we can address the issues that were raised.
Councilman Nickel.
Yeah, I have been getting quite a bit of response from constituents on this item. There is a very real concern about the commitment on the part of the individual developing this complex in terms of the amount of time they're willing to commit to regular inspections. I'm passing along the concerns I'm receiving. 2 years is just not long enough. And I mean, it's just, again, we're adding another multifamily development to a major area of our downtown core. These are small units. These are units that I tend to agree. I think they're, unless they are very, very well managed for an ongoing extended period of time, I have real concern about what this is going to do to demand for police services and the quality of life around that area. I've got some real concerns about this.
We certainly can ask Jeff to at least revisit kind of where we've been if the council would like us to. Otherwise, we will bring this back to you with the information that was requested in a couple of weeks. And the other thing I would just note, we understand the concerns that have been raised related to multifamily units and the lack of supervision at those. We are, as the council is aware, looking at all of our crime-free housing ordinances to make sure that we're implementing best practices. We probably will bring some revisions back to you in the coming weeks. We've had a lot of internal discussion about the need to make sure property owners are responsible for their dwelling units, and that maybe some of our ongoing efforts to educate and inform those individuals need to be even strengthened so that we're providing more support to them. And on the other hand, holding them accountable if we're not able to achieve that. So again, we do plan to bring some additional programs back to you for consideration, but certainly Jeff can answer the questions at least as it's been presented to us at this point, and if there is direction that you want us to go back and have further conversations as we work through the issue that was addressed at the last meeting, we can do that.
Mayor.
Councilman Barrios.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind everybody that the developer has been working with the city to make this project an example for future developments. They have agreed to have on-site management and security there. And I know that it got delayed last time because of I guess, CEQA in finding out the issues, and I'm assuming you guys don't have an answer on that yet.
No, and in fairness, the developer's not here because he knew that we were going
Right.
to request that the council continue, because we do need a couple more weeks to fully work through. Remember, there was a suggestion about the CEQA. We want to make sure we fully explore all that before we return this item to you. So we did indicate that we were not prepared on this item. The developer, I'm sure, does plan to be here at the next meeting to answer any questions.
Move to continue. Thank you.
We have a motion second. Councilman Mulvihill.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I also hear a lot about subsidized housing and people's concerns about low-income people and not committed to the neighborhood and so forth. But I think one of our issues in the past has been code enforcement. The crime free rental housing, we didn't have really a means of enforcing that. But now with our city prosecutor, really, we're listening. We've seen what's happened in the past, and obviously the past is prologue. But the point is, we're learning, and the city manager has changed the organization, and I think that in the future, the public does not have to be so much concerned about the fact that we have apartment houses. In fact, most people, most young people can't afford to buy houses. And the fact is that unless we build decent, affordable units for people just starting off, we're going to find more people living in garages, doubling up. People are so concerned about all the cars parked on the street. Well, it's because there's many people living in one house, separate family units and so forth. The reality is that there's a housing problem across California. We're seeing a small part of that in San Bernardino. We've had other issues with regard to code enforcement, but we're changing. And we've got better enforcement. We're going to keep after these issues as time moves on. And the fact is, we need more housing units. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion to continue in a second. Call for the vote.
We have a motion by Councilmember Charette and second by Councilman Valdivia, and that passes 6-0 with Councilmember Nickel absent.
Thank you. At this time, we will ask that we adjourn tonight's meeting with a moment of silence on behalf of Jade Maldonado, who was unfortunately killed on her way to school. Also like to include in that Robert Logsdon, who died at 101 years old, a former long-term San Bernardino Rotarian. So if we could take just a moment and offer a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We offer our sincere condolences to both families. This meeting is adjourned until Wednesday, October 17th, 2018. Thank you.